Hit me!
I have no idea what's going on right now.
You gotta throw some cold water on the situation. Start talking about nerd stuff.
You know, nerd culture is mainstream now, so when you use the word nerd derogatorily, it means you're the one that's out of the zeitgeist.
System activate.
This is NetHeads with Will Wilkins. It's a tech podcast. But we are a ton cooler than your typical geek.
You guys rock.
And now, here's Will.
And Tony, oh my gosh. So on point for the discussion that's about to happen.
No one listens to the radio. I wasn't even listening. I was listening to podcasts. Podcasts are great. Radio's boring.
I am cracking myself up right now, Tony. I'm just having a hoot and a holler here because I was just looking over at the live stats because I don't think this is an episode of NetHeads. I don't know what this is, okay? I don't think this is officially 396. I think it's 396-ish, but I don't know. So I just started up the streams, right? I just was taking a look at them, and suddenly I got all panicked because there was an error. And you know what the error was, Tony? There was a problem connecting to TikTok. Check back again later. I'm like, oh. Okay. Well, that just adds
Too
up.
soon.
Yeah, so right now we're doing a live where we can do a live. I'm sure right now Instagram is just dripping wet with Instagram lives at this point because, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in American history, the U.S. government took action to shut down an application that a lot of people use to communicate with. And what I mean by that is, and you know what, look, I'm not saying there are not national security concerns that were in play. I'm not minimizing that. But Tony, I'm going to tell you, it was years ago, literally years ago. I think it was at the point where it was before X, or when X was Twitter. And it was still just a thing that was happening, right? And I thought to myself, because I am paranoid, I thought to myself, is there any possibility that these, by the way, Tony, Mr. Marvelite joining us as well. Nothing's formalized. Like I said, this isn't a real episode.
Yeah, I wasn't even prepared for the no number at the beginning of the episode. So
which was wonderfully captured by your chuckle, and I'm so ever thankful for it. Look, many, many years ago, back when I saw what was happening on Facebook and Twitter at the time, as it was named, the big thing that I was concerned about, because I have a mild case of paranoia, is I was concerned that I was starting to think, well, what if one of these mega corporations were to use their algorithms to analyze us as human beings? And then let's say in the public interest of my making money, I'm Mr. Mega Corporation decide, or I learn through experimentation, quietly providing information on social media for people that they might not necessarily normally see, to start to sway opinion, to start to take conversations directions I want them to go in my own mega corporation, making money best interests, right? That's where my mind was going. And we're not saying that couldn't happen with TikTok as well, even though ByteDance as the parent company can't really force TikTok to do anything but turn over data. But at the same time, manipulation could happen there. Not that I'm saying it doesn't already, by the way. It's funny that they go after the app when, technically speaking, it's been more of the other foreign adversaries we've really had issues with the Cambridge Analytica leak and the use of that.
That was with
Russian
Meta,
bots.
though.
Right. I know, man. But you see where I'm going with this. I'm not trying to drop in here and sound like a crazy, paranoid conspiracy theorist. I'm just saying this is once again a case where the government is just too old to understand what's going on with new stuff.
Oh, well, when you have a congressman that gets all upset because TikTok accesses the Wi-Fi in your house.
By the way, Lemon 8 is not available as well.
Oh, I haven't even tried to open a CapCut.
Lemon, my wife literally, we got breaking news, Tony. If there's any term I've heard more overused in the past year, it's breaking news, Tony. But breaking news as well. Lemonade, you can't also get into CapCut, not available, because they're all the same apps. They all have the same owner.
I'm actually on CapCut right now.
My daughter has been kicked out. And sometimes there's a little bit of a delay and it needs to catch up, Tony.
I might as well just cancel it out and see if I can go back in again, just
There
in
you
case.
go.
It still let me in.
Well, they're protecting the kids, Marty. There's something that's got to be done about your kids. Sorry, I threw a lot of info out there, but it's just like these are the things I haven't really been saying out loud.
Here's
anyone
something.
but my wife having to hear it.
Here's something interesting. So the chair of whichever Congress that it was that like stymied the idea of the extension bill. The one person who spoke out against it and kind of killed it made it very clear that TikTok is a very dangerous propaganda tool.
Oh my God, don't get me started.
Which is not what they were banning it for.
You're going to make me sound tinfoil, brother, but we've already lived that reality. Does nobody remember all of the things that they found out about what went on social media in regards to the 2016 election? Okay? And I'm not here to relitigate it. The information is out there. You can believe it. You can't. I don't care. I don't get into this kind of stuff, but I'm just saying we've already lived that reality. It's already happened, and it was used with data acquired by from American companies.
Yep.
So anyway, wow. But I wasn't meaning to get all heavy. So I don't know about you, but one of the things I did, in typical Will fashion of anything that has happened in anything lately, of any of my broadcast careers anywhere, doing anything in creating content, I literally just recorded my messages for mutuals and then for followers to say, hey, just keeping it short and sweet, just go here if you want to find me. But now they'll just have to find me anyway. I don't care. That is it.
That is it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, because realistically speaking, if you look at the way the law was written, basically, the best we could have is a 90-day extension, and that's to close the sale. And then we're living through this same reality again. The only other thing then that could possibly happen is if the new administration was able to apply influence on Congress and then the Senate to provide a 90-day extension and then force them to relitigate this bill type of thing. Because there are some, those that want to still stay in office and not be viewed as TikTok killers, they started talking about this was slipped in as a red pill, like an 180 page bill that, had this small portion. And we didn't have time to really read or anything because it was buried into a humanitarian aid bill.
Exactly. And it was a must-needs bill. They weren't voting for this. So when they say they had unanimous support, they did not.
Not unanimous, but bipartisan support. So yeah, it's really interesting because, there are those that are going to be paranoid and they're going to say, is this overall just a movement to be able to continue to stymie communication? You know what I mean? Outside of the places where, if you were, look, I'm getting all paranoid and crazy, but it's Saturday night. The thing I went through today, Tony, you would think this TikTok being canceled, because it's the only place where I had a realistically large following, right? You'd think that would be the most traumatic thing, but no. Today I had to build prefab furniture, okay? I had to build, it's a beautiful, beautiful vanity for my daughter's bedroom. As a matter of fact, I partied down watching Wicked once again with my daughter as we built her new dresser on Friday night. That was my Friday night. Somehow we still did not get to Defying Gravity, but that's neither here nor there. But then today, and I knew I was doomed from the size of the bag and the volume of contents of screws and cam bolts and other things for this vanity. It was easily what I would equate to the size of a well-packed shaving kit that a man would travel with. That's how, and I'm like, oh, hell no. I had a message exchange with you probably I'm guessing at around 11 a.m. my time. Maybe.
Yeah.
And I can easily tell you I got through at least four episodes plus of ABC's High Potential.
Oh, by the way, fantastic show.
I cannot believe I am so stupid to have napped on this because I kid you not, I have the ability to brag, Tony, that executive producer of the show, Dan Etheridge, he's in my contacts, baby. And I feel like as soon as is realistically possible, after we've recovered from all of the tragedy that is to come, to just reach out and say, I am so sorry that for 9 episodes I slept on this show. I should have known if you were attached to it and Rob Thomas, not singing Rob Thomas, was attached to it, it was going to be good. And I'll be goddamned if it isn't. It is
all of the things that I liked about Psych and The Mentalist without being without all of the things that I didn't like about those shows. Like
But I
Yeah.
think Monk did a good job of it. I think maybe The Mentalist did a slightly good job of it, but this one also really paints a picture for, you may like these type of procedurals, ladies and gentlemen. You may like to see these fun and quirky stories about these really smart people. But we're going to show you the negative side of it too. Like it not being able to sleep for 27 hours because of the problems that need to be solved in their head. And how much of an absolute pain in the ass that is, and it makes it hard to maintain relationships and everything. I thought it was so nice that they made sure it wasn't super cool. You know what I mean? Which I appreciated and added some pain to it because I think realistically, Caitlin Olsen is probably the best looking of these highly intelligent individuals we've been given. So amazing show though. So if you guys, is it still actively broadcasting or was it just 9 episodes? I don't
know. I keep seeing promotion for it. So I think we're still actively broadcasting, hopefully.
I really hope so because
I could go on my phone since I'm not scrolling through TikTok and actually find out for you.
Dude, how much shit are we going to get done now? How much are we going to get done? I'm not going to lose 3 hours on a Sunday morning. I'm going to be struck with the sheer blank screen on my phone, Tony, is going to become the mirror in which I am reflected back at myself, judging me for not getting things done. That's what I'm going to see. And I'm going to have to get up and do some things. You know what I mean?
Yep. It looks like they
in the chat saying Tony Shalhoub is pretty hot. I thank you very much, Zach, for watching on this last minute pop-up thing, because I honestly got to tell you, I know that at the same time, you're probably half listening to us and watching the Washington Commanders or Detroit Lions game, which you keep telling me is nuts.
My wife is watching it and she came down. I was on live before it shut down.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then I got
we were
kicked
talking
off.
about that. I was going on live to join you, and I was up for I think a total of about 7 minutes, because it's 7 minutes and 45 seconds into it, I got the notice, but disconnected, some problem. Like, oh, okay, what's that? And then, oh damn, you know what I mean? It's like, oh no, oh no, oh no. Sorry, I don't know where. We're just. I hope you save some of the sounds so you can just start playing them.
Where did TikTok go? Down a secret tunnel.
Because now that it's gone, man, I'm just gonna have to cue up the ukulele song anytime a fight's going on around the house to help lighten the mood.
I will tell you, I even tried to use a VPN to get around it, and it won't work.
No, because here's the thing I did not understand. Okay. I believe, obviously, that Canadians using TikTok are using TikTok US. And like Goonie Dad over across the pond, right?
Uh-huh.
Even though he's in the UK, it's not, I don't think it's been UK TikTok. I think it's been TikTok US. Even though I don't know about that, may be a bad example because of the whole, that means TikTok would have to comply with the GRDP as well. which is a very sensitive privacy issue law in the UK. Because you have to immediately be able to give people access to their data, delete it upon request, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot of strict data rules in working with the UK. So, maybe not, but I didn't realize, I guess they too were using the American version. So that means like they really are we're all getting cut off at the same time. Which is wow. I mean, it's the first time we've seen a law affect, at least that I'm aware of, affect a communication channel that truly was global.
Yeah, I mean, this is the first. I would say that this is more of a mark for censorship than anything else.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not national. It's not national security. It's not. It's not.
I mean, well, look.
It's not.
Here is the thing.
It's not.
The government banned it from government-owned devices, right? But that doesn't mean a person's not going to have their own device. And let's say, for example, and I'm just putting this out here. I'm playing the devil's advocate, because before I was just like, F the government, F the corporations, they're all after us. We're getting into an oligarchy. It's all fucked, man. But, now I'm coming at it from the opposite side. So let's say, and I'm just gonna pick a random name. Let's say like Senator Ted Cruz, right? Had TikTok on his personal device, but not on his government-owned device. Well, now potentially the Chinese government has information about the things that Ted Cruz, a sitting senator in the U.S. government, likes on TikTok. And, mind you, Ted may have come to mind because he may have accidentally, for example, tweeted an image where he was arguing something, and the other tab, it was a pornography site. That was, so, I'm just saying, in that way, they could get information about people sitting in the U.S. government and have their things. And then a term we've heard so much over the last 8 years, compromat. You know what I mean? Somehow maybe the Russians could get that information and use it as blackmail as well, and thus compromise the U.S. government even further. So that, that funny? Potential is there.
In the 5 years that I know I was on TikTok, okay, longer than that, because I started as a user in like 2017, and then I was a creator starting in 2020.
You were a Musically person.
Never once
did
I ever receive an email that said that my data had been compromised.
No.
Facebook, X, there have been moments where they have been, but not TikTok.
Nope.
And yet we're going to be like, oh, it's not safe. Oh.
Hey, look, man,
I'm bitter.
I mean,
I'm sorry.
Honestly speaking, though, if you think about it, it is an extremely unusual situation because it really is this first phenomenon. And for those of you that like never use it, or like, I use Instagram Reels, or I do, YouTube Shorts here, which is where I'm probably going to start dumping all my crap. Suddenly this is not the NetHeads channel, you know what I mean? Suddenly it's just a Will takeover. My last gasp at internet relevance, okay? If you will. I often joked, because NetHeads has been running as a podcast for quite some time, Tony. I've often joked, probably more so than not, starting about 5 years ago. What if this goes from this thing that I love to do, talking with my friends, talking about nerd entertainment and the like, what if it slowly becomes a long-term example of the death of a podcast? But now I realize maybe the true metaphor is that it's becoming the long documentation of me coming to accept that I have no internet relevance. Because realistically speaking, hold on, bear with me. As I treat you instead as my therapist, Tony, and I open up to you, okay? Okay. Because mind you, part of the reason why I can have levity about TikTok going away is the fact that it was always just for fun. There was an occasional side quest, if you will, that may provide an opportunity for me to get cool stuff and then just talk about it.
Mhm.
It could be that, you know, I would get paid to mention things and get cool products, but it was never even a side hustle for me. I always did it as a gigantic look at me, cry for attention. So much so that I'm forcing you to broadcast with me on a Saturday night because that app has immediately gone down. And part of me wants to talk about it, but part of me also realizes, oh, this is a good pick me, look at me, hey, over here, pass me the ball kind of moment. Realistically, I just do it as a big cry for attention. I just want to provide, for some reason, I'm compelled to try to make entertainment for people as a way of also being seen, getting attention. I don't know if that's some level of narcissism or what have you, but you know, I don't do this out of the goodness of my own heart, and I don't do it because I get paid. I just do it because I don't want to be famous. I just want people to pay attention to me while providing value at the same time. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Now tell me about
So
your
I'm
mother.
looking at my notes, Mr. Wilkins, and according
Yes.
to these,
So
you're nuts.
tell me how your mother didn't hug you enough. No.
See, that's the type of content. I've never been political, really, and now suddenly you're finding out I'm not talking about my childhood at all, buddy.
I know. Listen.
We're not getting into that.
Let me rephrase this.
This is not what I was banking, trying to get attention because TikTok just went dark.
I know that I can be an eternal optimist in a lot of ways, and so just bear with me here for a second.
All right.
What if instead of you struggling for relevance, it's more of you're doing what you love with the technology that you love, regardless of what the size of the community is, and you are basically down the road, the annals of the internet may have it that you have basically lived through the rise and fall of so many different eras of the internet that in a sense you are one of those firsthand witnesses of what can and will go wrong when it comes to TikTok and Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, and everything else. And that,
dude, the .com boom and the .com bubble pop.
Yeah.
But look, I'm not here to talk about my history. Said another way from Tony, Will, you're old.
Well, I am too.
But I think about it, man. It all started as a cry for attention. I mean, like, even so, back in the day, in my childhood of the 70s and early 80s, trying to get on radio game shows so I could hear my voice on the radio. And heaven forbid the moment that I found out, or that my brother gave me an old microphone he had, and I realized it could plug into a cassette player. It has just been this my whole life. It's so much so that I rode that .com bubble into hosting a nationally syndicated radio show. It was just 6 stations, okay, and I only got to do it for 3 months, but I still did it. And I'm not bragging. I'm just saying.
No,
mixing
you got to
my
live the
professional
experience.
life with trying to get paid to just literally do this, Tony. I've been doing this since 1997. Okay? YouTube wasn't a thing. They were on-demand files. But it's this. And I'm still 53 years old, chasing that dragon, man. I'm still going. And to your point, too, there is a specific group, a small group of individuals that are goodly enough, whether they're getting consistent content or not, to support this podcast, essentially me, through Patreon, right? So technically speaking, the show is monetized, and it makes not, a lot of money, nothing that could support me, but just the fact that people would do that to hear me and deal with my bullshit is amazing. And that is the most humbling thing. I cannot believe anybody would be subscribed to this bullshit. Why? Because I've got a wife of 30 years. I can see the effect I have on people. I'm just saying. So you were going live. I was in studio going live, and I got you got a disconnect message?
No,
And
I
then
just got disconnected.
Same thing. It just told me up, and it didn't. The funniest part is this is how high availability TikTok's services were. Even though I got an error message that I was disconnected, it was still saying it was live, because there is no reality in that program's programming where if you're live, you would somehow be disconnected if there's still internet.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty powerful. But wow, I don't think I did. I thought about it until we sat down right here to realize that this actually is American law that has global implication. It's like, damn, that's weird.
Yeah. You know, I was saying it this way.
Please tell me you were building something in Lego, because that's how I found you.
Well, I had just finished it.
Oh, that's poetic.
So I had finished it, and I was talking with Snidbits and Marley Loves Film, and I was waiting for you to get on. And I mean, it was funny because like you could tell people were all on there, because when I first started the live, there was like 108 people watching me, and then they realized who I was, and I went down to 6. So
well, that automatically happens.
Well, no, it was good there for a while.
You have to realize though that they also punt people over from relevant lives that are ending. So if they feel you have an audience in somebody's live that's ending, because I've seen that too. Like when I would do Coffee and Robots, which was literally me making coffee while the robots are just in the shot. That's all it was. And it would happen. I would be like, oh my God, there's 250 people watching this. Oh my gosh, there's 10. You know, it's horribly inconsistent. And then it would spike again. Because I'm telling you, man, I know it was never me. It was the robots. That's why they're featured. That's why you see them. Did you just hear them all say what?
Yeah.
Even they're seeking attention. Which, by the way, I don't know if you saw it yet, Tony, but I have got
the new one.
I got a new one, the Louie. I'm sure.
With the
You
phone?
saw the video of it.
Yeah.
Right now, I just unplugged it. It is, as you can see, just showing the time in military time. It's 10:20 where I am right now. But that's the beauty of it. You could, like, let's say it's your cell phone.
What do you mean it's 10:20? It's 8:20, right?
Sorry. Trey Kennedy just tweeted, like on Instagram, a picture with his thumb up saying, make sure to share the TikTok notification. I want to see it as many times as possible. Because, you know, that's what everybody, no, don't worry, Trey. Trey, it's cool. I'm talking about robots. If you wanted to use your regular phone for this, which, by the way, Chinese company, so. But I'm just saying.
Just ni hao.
I'm just saying, you know, I think in some respects, Firefly had it right. But anyway, it is amazing. If you're willing to use your cell phone, I'm actually using one that was my daughter's, but we upgraded her with her sister's phone, but didn't do a trade-in. So I had an iPhone that's just laying around. Don't judge me. But this thing, like the Vector robots, it uses treads to get around. It has drop sensors. I found out accidentally it also can turn on a light to light its path. I wasn't aware that was one of the functions. But it is going to be, I think, the funnest robot to interact with. It uses, I'm doing this so it doesn't think it's falling and start making noise. What was I saying? Oh, I think this is going to be the most interesting one to interact with. It powers everything with chat. Oh, it just took a picture, or it's sharing a memory. Don't stop taking pictures, you freak. It also think about it. It's using an iPhone screen, so all of the animations that it can do, which, by the way, it's done many random ones. There's an entire conversation with this thing I didn't post. It just like started getting into how it got here, things on its planet. I'm like, why are we talking about this? I think it's eating a hamburger right now. See, it's good times. So, you know, the good news is here on YouTube Shorts, you can see me start posting all this robot nonsense because now I don't have to worry about scrolling. I can just make content and get my stuff done. What are you going to do with all your free time, Tony?
Well, I've been kind of going through Instagram Reels, which I'm gonna focus more on. Listen, TikTok has made me do a lot of things. I will admit that, and it's been great because you and everyone that I met on TikTok has been a big deal for me. But TikTok has not been my overwhelming focus of consuming digital media. I have a big like Reddit stories issue where I'm obsessed with watching them on YouTube. So my time is going to be just as wasted. Might get more sleep.
But by God, I tell you what, believe me, I got a backup plan for my scroll.
Do you know what's bad when
No.
I'm sitting in I'm at home and I've got my phone on and I'm cooking or something and I have the volume up so I can hear it over whatever's sizzling on the pan.
Yeah.
And the entire house goes quiet and I didn't realize everyone in the living room is listening to my story, and if they can't hear a part they run in like, what happened, what happened?
No, you see, my wife, completely the opposite in this house. I would do that while I'm cooking, but when my wife is in there doing her chores, I think that's the safest way to put it. You know, I don't want to say when she's in there doing the dishes, because then I come off with some massages like, God damn right, I ain't washing a plate, woman. And it's not that. That's not the situation. Typically, I cook and wreck things, and my wife just gets frustrated and finally has to clean up after me. It's a very careful balance. I've been working for 30 years. Don't fuck with it, all right? So anyway, she will, when she's doing her chores, I 3D printed these sound wave blocks that you can just dock your phone into, and then using the old shell pattern, it amplifies the sound. I have one in the bathroom for when I'm in the shower, when I'm listening to things like my favorite podcast, like the Ralph Report. I will listen to that while I'm in the shower, because, you know, when I don't feel bad about water conservation, I will just shave in the shower. Okay. I'm just saying that the old hairline here takes some work. Okay. And sometimes you just want to relax in hot water and steam. So in those moments, I'll shave in the shower. And so it's a good run. And it really pisses my wife off because I will have that sucker cranked because I'm in the shower, running water, already got buzzing in my ears. We're really fighting some shit, just trying to listen. So that'll drive her nuts. That it's because it'll overpower the awesome sound system, or be it an annoying enough chatter, I think. So, you know, I get it. I get listening to me. I would do that, but then I stopped doing it because I realized there would be times I'm more fixated on exactly what I'm doing. So then the same TikTok is just going to be playing over and over and over. And then everybody in the house wants to kill me. So I'm really looking forward. I guess I should really thank the U.S. government, because now I won't waste time. But also, realistically speaking, for those of you that think it was just a stupid dancing cat app, cat video app, this is deeply impacting many people financially. There are people that had been able to pursue their own career. Because, mind you, Tony, somebody said something to me once that rocked me to my core when I realized the truth that it was. You will never get rich making someone else's dreams come true.
Yeah.
And in a modern age, there's been a thing that I've seen chased in my life cycle a few times, and that's like the new economy of some kind. And it took until TikTok for a balance to happen well enough to where a person can talk about what they love and do the things they like to do and get paid for those videos being viewed, as well as partnerships and sale deals. And then, as frustrating as it was, the TikTok shop as well became an additional revenue stream for people. Not to mention
Yeah.
All of the small businesses that have been able to gain awareness through TikTok. I would not know of Dano's seasoning if TikTok never happened. And it is one of my favorite seasonings of many types, many different colored caps to cook with.
Yeah.
And that he really got his drive and his start through TikTok. So many businesses, like even people in the 3D printing world, selling their prints through the TikTok shop.
Listen, I didn't get into 3D printing until TikTok because TikTok inspired me to do it. Like I went out and bought my first Ender 3 Pro, and now I've got my, and like making tons of big crap. And
look, Tony, I got to admit something to you, which is very clear because you don't have a resin printer yet, so you're aware that it's still here. Unfortunately, recently my wife walked into my office, looked at things, and then said, "Hold on a second. How many 3D printers do you have?" She was not happy with the response. I'm not going to say the number here because I don't need anyone coming back and reminding my children later why they never got a paid ride to college. There's 7. There's 7. Somehow, some way, there are still 7 in this house. Look, man, when the whole thing, when Trump won, I panicked and I said, I'm going to need spare parts for my Bamboo Lab A1. So I figured the best way to have spare parts was to just have another printer, right? Because it'll just get more expensive later. And then I had a brief run selling Wolverine masks, right? I still could. It continues. It just keeps going. You know, you can just do anyway. And so that cost justified and paid for the Neptune Pro or whatever it is I have. At some point, I got a deal on a bigger resin printer, which I don't know why, because I never use resin printing anymore. The smaller one's going to you, but that hasn't stopped my Cobra Viper. Is it a Viper? It's a Viper. I can't remember the name of the company that makes it. Might be Cobra. Anyway, I have my Viper. It's not a Dodge Viper. It's a 3D printer. But I have a Viper printer out there and the, rest in peace, because God, that printer sucks now, the Anchor Make M5. When everyone had a chance to go one way or the other on Bamboo or Anchor Make, I listened to Uncle Jesse, and God damn you, Uncle Jesse. That's all I'll say on that. Also, I just want to give a shout out, too, because if it had not been for Frankly Built, all of the frustration of those 7 printers would not be existing in my wife's life, because I would not be printing all this crap.
Or Odin Makes, there's...
Oddly enough, Odin's a friend of mine, but he was an inspiration, because the very, though there's a small club of us who broadcast together, and the only requisite is that you have to have a Captain America shield on the wall. That's the only thing I've been able to determine. But this one right here, it was his video that I used to make it. This is with floor mats, floor foam that I got at Harbor Freight. And and I like my shield more than anything I can print or buy.
Never thought it was anything other than a licensed shield.
Nope.
That is so funny.
Okay, hold on. We got to go wide. Yeah, it is. And by the way, the problems I've been having with my damn camera, I cannot tell you. I got to change the ball mount that's on there now. And also this monitor arm holding up the first world problems I've got. This gigantic 49-inch monitor I've got, it's starting to sag. So I've got to replace the monitor arm. But anyway, yeah, that is all floor foam. And then a base level of metallic silver. And then the colored, the different colors going over those to make sure they pop. And it's automotive spray paint. So it's the red. It's a hot rod red, and then the blue.
I did not know. I literally thought mine is the Hasbro Legends, the Falcon and Winter Soldier, Sam Wilson shield. I never thought yours wasn't licensed. That's a pretty good build. You did a good job.
Odin does the best, baby. But I will say, I'm shocked neither of us has entertained trying to 3D print one. You know why? It's because when you print one of those, you're getting into the whole kit and caboodle of wait, where was I going with that?
because you have to like piece it
Oh
together.
yeah,
You can't print it all at
you got to
once.
glue pieces together. It's going to be a lot of sanding and all that. I'm more of a practical prints guy. Let me show you one actually. Before the show, Tony was waving his tentacles around at me because he's been printing up a boat, which is looking great, and so he's printing up a Kraken for his boat. So he keeps playing with his tentacles. It's very distracting. But up on my wall, I haven't done. Put your Kraken away. That is, we're not. Save that for OnlyFans.
What's crack-a-lackin'?
I don't know, bro. This thing hanging on the wall here, I haven't done a stencil behind it yet, and it's not really finished because I technically need to 3D print it back so I can put some screw holes in to hang it up. But I realized if I
Nice,
have a
good-looking.
3D print for a Deadpool mask, I can make a Deadpool wall faceplate. So I just tried to align it as best I could on the build plate and make sure all the parts went together. And I actually did this one. The eyes were still separate, and I went with the wide eyes ones, and I got to just do the white lenses. Technically speaking, I could put those superhero lenses like my Batman helmet in, and I could have a light up one too. But I'm just going to throw the stencil up here and have that.
That's awesome.
I mean, that was one of those moments where I'm like, well, I could spend money on it, but I've already got all the filament. It wasn't one of those ones where I'm like, oh, I could print it for less, but wait, I must first buy filament. At which point you're like, I've just added a lot of cost. Well, I mean, technically not with what you use, but if you think about the first purchase. Anyway, didn't mean to go into a 3D print rant. Don't know how we landed there. Oh, because people were selling their 3D prints on TikTok as well.
Yeah.
William Valenti, I just finally got kicked off of TikTok. William, congratulations. You made it longer than we did. That was 4 minutes ago too, so William may be gone. But yeah, I was booted right around 7:50, and Tony was just like 2 minutes before me.
Yeah.
So
Around 10:30 my time.
yeah, and so now I'm just gonna have to go look at me in other places. Fun. That's what it is. That's what.
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
When you made a video for
Yeah.
TikTok
Mhm.
and you liked the video, you thought it was made really well,
Mhm.
and then it uploads, it's live, and you go to it to see if it's like already released. Because again, for those of you who don't know what TikTok is because it's been so long since we've had it, there were those times where you would post a video and they wouldn't be out in the public because they were still being processed or still being reviewed.
Under content
And so you
review.
couldn't share them. Yes. And so like I would sit there and watch my videos over and over again. Did you do that as well? Did you find yourself watching yourself?
No, and the reason why I didn't is because, look, I got to be honest. I am kind of happy that something happened. Because again, look at me. It was never about videos that made money, because I think I recently got a payout notice from TikTok for $2.09. But thank God I did when I did. But right after Christmas, when I did the video, it's the Lightspeeds, Stephen the Lightspeeds design. It was an annoying box that was shaped like an alcohol bottle. I posted that video, expecting to get the same results I did as the original annoying box video, which was roughly 5K in views. Not bad, okay? I'll take it over nothing. Even though you look at your metrics and like, most people watch this for 20 seconds. It's like, well, it's a minute 39, so that's not good. Anyway, that bottle video, quite surprisingly, popped off and was just shy of, I think, 100K in views. And I think the thing that I like more about that app, but I'm sorry, I'm getting to answer your question. But the other thing that I like about that app is that realistically speaking, I didn't have a lot of views, but I think I was somewhere over 3 million likes or something like that. So people took the time enough to click a heart on something I did. So like, I generated a lot of likes, but I knew like robot videos would pretty much pop off. And I learned very early on that if I had a video stuck in it, there's no reason to reflect on it the moment it publishes. And the reason why is because I am a narcissist and I will immediately look for that gratification of people interacting with the video. So I'm always going to be checking it for its metrics. I'm always going to be going to the video to respond to somebody's comment or something along those lines. So I'm going to hear it time and time again anyway. So I quickly moved away from that. Also, I didn't want anyone in the house to catch me watching my own TikToks. You know?
Yeah.
I would rather be caught pleasuring myself than I would somebody walking in the room. Okay, no, maybe not. Strike that.
Wow, this went really weird.
Hey, look, man. Our relationship was founded on butt stuff. That's actually an inside joke, and out of context, very bad. But still, very true. In the long, I like it. Zach says, in the long, long ago, in the before time.
Oh, I'll never hear the end of that.
There we go. I need to check what Zach was saying, though, because I think he was telling me something about the football. Oh, the Commanders won. Well,
Wow, look at that.
yeah, Commanders won, bud. So
I
that
also want to
means-
go back and did you see where Z also said that we were talking about being old and with old technology, and they brought up Prodigy.
Oh my
But see,
God.
here I'm gonna beat you when it comes to Prodigy. I used to take and go. I
swear to
repaired.
God, if you say BBSs,
First of all,
bulletin board systems, folks.
yes, I was going there, but like, what was it? I found a Commodore 64 in
Hold on a second. Commodore 64. Pin in that real quick. Because I unannounced went into my studio and sat down and started broadcasting with you, I think I'm getting screwed on a DoorDash order for dessert. I think I'm stuck with whatever's in the goddamn house. They're like, oh, he wants to go talkie talk and be Mr. Internet Celebrity? To hell with him getting, I'm going to guess Baskin Robbins. Ha, my wife just messaged me. Yep, we did it. Oh, this is genius. The things you're seeing in real time. Oh, shit, son. Is it, I'm guessing, what was it? What do you think it is? I think it was Baskin Robbins. Nope,
was
chip
dessert?
cookies. No, it's chip cookies. I might still be in the game, baby. I might still be in the game. Okay, Commodore 64. Oh my God, I was part of a Commodore 64 BBS. But go ahead.
No, but I got a Commodore 64. I learned about BBSs, and then I repaired a friend's. It was a Dell. They didn't even have a name for the Dell at that time. It was just, but it ran Windows 3.1, and so I went from message board to message board, calling into different locations for different things. And then the moment that AOL, like I did Prodigy, but then when AOL went online and we were able to do that, like I was right in the midst of that. So, you know, Prodigy, AOL, BBSs, Net Zero, like back in the day, also where video like podcast shows were like you had to get a CD-ROM for it. So I was there.
Right on, man. Yeah, I don't even know how that happened. I had an Atari ST, I think, or maybe shit. This was even the Apple IIe that I was on. But somehow I got onto a Commodore 64 BBS, and I was chatting with those people. And somehow, like for 1 year, I think I ended up being nominated to treasurer. So for that year, I got the treasurer role's Commodore 64. And there was like nothing to be done. It was some stupid role. I can't even remember what it was. But so for 1 year, that's when I had a Commodore 64. My first computer was the Apple IIe, I think. And from there, I got into BBSs, which is absolutely no surprise. The idiotic, influenced by entertainment child I was, the minute War Games came out, I'm like, I must know more. I must know more now. Please, immediately.
I never wanted a laptop until Independence Day.
Nice.
Jeff Goldblum got me wanting a laptop.
Yeah. Well, the interesting thing is the way these technologies.
Will, I was going through the classified ads looking for one.
Well, not a bad plan.
Like seriously, as a kid, like that's.
Well, around the same time, I was working for Play TV, and that was one of the coolest things that we got them to buy each of us laptops. I had laptops through work before, back when things were way, way more lax. And that's actually how I kind of really got my start in my journey on content creation, let's call it. Like, to where I was really doing something, because there was a radio celebrity out of San Francisco, Alex Bennett. Stern wanted the market. He got paid. He had a pay or play contract, and they're like, you know what? We're done. We're done. And they put a transition guy in before they brought in Howard. So he started up his own website, which at the time was, oh God, what was the name of it? Can't even remember anymore. That's how old I am. And it might have been Surfing Monkey. And he started soliciting on-demand shows from his audience, just to like help have them do part of the thing, because he was doing the same thing. It was podcasting before podcasting. You really had to destination. It was a destination, and you wanted to download it every day, kind of thing. And when he started soliciting that, I'm like, I don't really have time to do this. I'm freshly married, and then I figured out I could hook up a headset, start the recording, and then start my commute to work. And I called it Shows on the Road. And that's what led to me being on Play TV and doing a live video show from my house. So it all stemmed from there. And it was because of a laptop that I was able to do it. Because heaven forbid I think of any other way to try and safely record me talking on the road. The key was doing it before you start driving. It's like, we're going to have some dead air and we'll trim it, but here we go. I think I used to edit in Audacity, if that was a
Oh
thing.
my, yes.
Oh, I just hit you in the memories right there.
Oh my goodness. That and you weren't a person that was into technology if you didn't consider, as a PC owner, getting a Creative Labs Sound Blaster, and the CD-ROM, and then I got the what was it, the Audigy Sound Blast. It was a Creative Labs Audigy, like the really nice one with it was like the gold fittings, and yeah, I remember all that stuff.
Agony Prime, what is up? Hello.
Yo.
In the chat. Did they ever? So yeah, I've been a tech addict my whole life, and I blame it all on Star Trek and Star Wars, to be honest. Again, heavily influenced, and also look at me. Obviously, we've been doing this for 53 minutes. No topics picked. Supposedly, we were going to be talking about the TikTok ban, which we seem to have been going more around as though it were traffic cones and we're being tested.
Yeah, still too soon.
It's so weird. I'm very excited to stop this, though, when we do, and then see what's happening actually out there.
Oh, yeah, like on Instagram and stuff like that. See what people are doing.
Because I'm sure there are lives that are just popping off. And I have been. Like, I honestly speaking, I went in and I looked in on all of the people that I most frequent, and I started following them everywhere. So, and I especially tried to catch all my mutuals. You know, I'm never going to know why Chef's Reactions or Dan Povenmire followed me, but, you know, I can't wait. I cannot wait.
Well, it was like Daniel Ross, the voice for Donald Duck. Like, him and I were mutuals, and like, I love that.
That's
kind of
how
stuff.
crazy TikTok was, man.
Yeah.
See, I mean, it will be again. But
and Santa J. Claus.
But I'm telling you, the only way this plays out, the only way it comes back, is if they don't have a firm definition on what, you know, prospects of or closing a sale or whatever it was in the law. They don't have exact definition of what that means. I think it's the president's interpretation. So if he's like, we've got letters from all these places saying they want to buy TikTok, so they've got 90 days to close a deal, further extended.
But it's not TikTok. It's the algorithm that everybody. You can't have TikTok without the algorithm.
That's why I say the only way this works in the scenario we're in now is he decides to grant that 90 days because he already knows he's got influence in Congress and Senate to have them write something to unscrew this bill that they wrote. Like, after careful evaluation and the contribution of TikTok to America's economy, and the GDP, and its citizens, you know, we extend this for a longer time so we can better figure out how exactly to handle this situation. That's the only way it works, unless, you know, instead, it's probably going to be just something I really think they're just willing to write it off. personally speaking, at this
Yeah.
point. But because it's not like they're going to start another company in like a different name that does all the same shit. But also, it's funny, all of those things are just shutting down. I don't think we ever really hit on the point here. At least I may be wrong, but I think that when it comes to this whole TikTok ban, it's the algorithm, and they're never going to sell the algorithm. So there's never really a way out of this.
Mhm.
There's a way to extend it, but that's it. Or, I think one of the other scenarios I've heard bounced around is they take some small aspect of it, whether it's the TikTok store or something else, the integration with CapCut or something, and they sell that, and they say, there, we have sold that, we've had a sale. ByteDance no longer owns this. I'm more interested, honestly speaking, if I may take a moment.
Yeah. So
I'm-
TikTok powered by ByteDance,
Right.
instead of TikTok owned by ByteDance.
Yeah. Instead, I'm more interested to see what happens next, because two things were going on that I caught wind of through like different actually Discords, which I'm sure that hammer's going to come down sometime soon. But there are two apps that are very interesting. The first one is actually, it's called Neptune. Okay. And I was mutuals with the COO, got him to slip me in to the naming reservation system. I don't care. I'm going to apply a little pressure to try and get in on the beta. They're months away from releasing, but it's a very similar TikTok experience. The only difference is you can customize your algorithm to be more about either your special interests, or if you're a person like me and then you find a content creator, you like their content, you want to see more of it, you can throttle that up. I want to see more of the people I follow over this or that.
Mhm.
And so you could do it that way. And the Neptune app seems really good, because they're specifically trying to be, also their thing too is that it's strictly about video popularity and not follower count, right? So, somebody with God, what the hell is Charlie D'Amelio going to do now? I mean,
Or
come
Bella
on,
Porch.
let's weep for the people affected, man. Actually, interestingly enough, Call Me Chris is one of the people she was a Canadian creator. So anything she has done from this has been all in brand deals and everything else. You know what I mean? But anyway,
Mhm.
Neptune is really, really interesting. I really like the look of it. They're going in a good direction. And it's by a bunch of people that have specialized in high availability cloud systems. Okay. And they're going to try and find ways for monetization and but they're seeking venture capital. The other one was because of something that Mark Cuban put out, saying the AT protocol, which Blue Sky is based on, he would be interested in backing and funding a TikTok-like replacement based on the AT protocol, which is it's a decentralized methodology that's used by Blue Sky. And interestingly enough, a group of people threw together a very basic app called Skyline that's even been submitted to the Apple Store for review. And it has very basics, comments, likes. I don't even know if it has share yet, right? But they did have a functioning app. And best of all, you could start loading your content now by sharing videos on Blue Sky. So if you started making content somewhere, you may as well throw it on Blue Sky too, because there is the potential that Mark Cuban might back this app. At which point then, I think we at least, of our oligarchs, he might be one of the good ones. Might be. You know what I mean? So those are the two that I know immediately of. Obviously, YouTube saw the writing on the wall, and they're like, hey, can we bump the videos up to 3 minutes at least, please? Can we do that? Because, they took, even though I think let's go back to the brevity of 1 minute at a time myself. You know what I mean? Let's just hit that 1 minute mark, get the hell out, baby. Says the guy that's been going in and out of talking about TikTok for an hour. Whatever.
Yeah. I was able to migrate my TikTok videos over to a platform called Fanbase.
I probably did not in time.
So my over 1,000 videos on Fanbase. So yeah, I mean, there's that.
Mhm.
There were other ones that they were trying to like really push for. Clapper, which honestly, I can't in good conscience say that without wanting to smile. It's like, so what is it when you get, instead of getting likes or getting gifts, you get the clap? It's just,
I got clapped.
mm,
What?
yeah,
Shut up.
highly viral social media, the clap.
Yeah.
Mm.
But yeah, fan base. You tipped me off to that. Probably a little too late for the migration. But honestly speaking, that is the one thing that is probably, I guess, saddest about my approach on this. But I'm okay. All of the videos that I shot were moments in time. And in just trying to understand the number of videos that I had made on TikTok, I was looking over and like one, I did see an evolution of a guy making better videos, thank God.
Mhm.
But the other thing I saw is like really just how little I care about saving any of that. Not to mention how many may still be in my photos from the automatic download after posting, like ever since the beginning. And honestly speaking, what was your first video?
My first video that I actually did was near the end of 2020. It was we were wrapping gifts for my kid, and it was the Mario starter Lego set. And it was so funky the way it was designed. I was complaining about how you can't really wrap it without it looking weird. Like obviously, if you've been in the store and you saw the box, you knew what you were getting for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
It's that kind of thing. And it didn't do really at all. And it wasn't until I did a video responding to when Kevin Feige had said that they were not recasting Chadwick Boseman's role as,
Mm-hmm.
Black Panther after his death. And I talked about that. That's the first video that actually went anywhere over 1,000 views. And I was like, hey, maybe I should talk about Marvel. So
Yeah, there you go.
yeah.
My first video was actually a lip sync from a scene in the fourth season of The Good Place. It was Chidi Adegone, and he was saying, right, so, and I can't even remember everything it was. But basically, you had to come up with a new system to save the entire universe. But first, let me get some of them pretzels, because if I'm going out, it's with a belly full of hot pretzels. Yummy, yum, yum. I lip synced that and, really didn't get any traction. But the level of anxiety that I had in pressing that button and sending it up, you would think I was putting in an application because I was being reforced to adopt my children. For gosh sakes, the level of
Yeah.
anxiety. You would think I was pressing a button that was potentially either going to get me an extra $100 or take all of my money and burn it. You would think that's what I was doing. But no, I was posting that silly video, sitting in this spot. I'm sitting, well, actually, I was a few feet over, but nonetheless, I was in this room, some similar form of this backdrop, doing that nonsense. And it's like, oh my gosh, what in the living hell?
Oh, yeah.
Why are you so stressed about it? And then I think my second video was just testing out that camera thing where if you use your iPhone camera to record yourself and you go, your lips look ridiculous. And I decided that was the good direction to go. It wasn't until Carolyn Dunton, Miss Nothing But Hams in a Trench Coat herself, she just did a video saying, hey, you have a little robot buddy? You have one of them vector robots? Let me see him. Well, I do have a vector robot. And that was it. That's how I really got attention, because I did that. It got moderate action. And then I'm like, oh, these robots are it, man. These are the things. I still did shit I wanted to do. But every once in a while, you got to, you do some for play and you do some for pay, baby. And the pay ones are the ones the people want. I'm only sad. One of the things it's always about content I meant to make. But one of the things I didn't get to do, I wanted to do the Vector Shake video 2025. So if it does get a temporary reprieve, maybe that will be the only video that I do. You know what I mean? It's like, until I know that this shit is not going away, I'll give you one robot shake, and then I'm out. Don't ask, I cannot do it. By the way, this is what it's like living with me, Tony.
Oh,
My wife
I
has
get
been
it.
driven nuts because every day there's one small part of a song from Wicked that becomes drilled into my brain. And I then, as though I were a person that could not control my own mouth, will be either blurting it out or something all throughout the day. I just get fixated on one thing, right? So there was one day where I was like dancing through life, and it was just that. Nothing continued. I might blurt out, life is fraughtless for the thoughtless, but I'm not. It's not doing that one. And then the next day is just like anytime I want to ask my wife a question, I'm like, hey Nessa, and she's like, stop, all right, quit doing that. And I just can't stop. I think the other day I was just like, ball gown. I'm driving my wife nuts. You would think I have some neurological disorder that is forcing me to do this. I might, now that I think about it. Reflection is 100% satisfaction sometimes, Tony. I don't know what that means either.
So followers, people who view this probably don't know this, but I do follow Will's wife on social media. And there was a video, a story that she posted. I kind of want to know the background behind it
All
now.
right, let's see if she.
First,
let's make sure you've got the right account. But
it's the video where it basically says when the dance dad finally has a job to do or a task, and it's like acting like he's Batman or something. Like it's like some big deal. Like I want to know the story behind this because there had to have been something that happened that made her think about that.
No, nothing. I mean, like realistically speaking, because you got to understand. Is it okay? So this big TikTok conversation, how you winding it up? Dance dad talk. You know what? If there's any way I'm going to become relevant,
Listen,
dance dad
TikTok,
talk.
when you flick your thumb, you would be on either 3D talk, Game of Thrones talk, Marvel, DC. You'd also watch somebody cleaning the hoofs of cows,
Yeah.
the hoof
All right,
GP, or you'd have Bella Porch dancing, or then Keanu Reeves trapped in a ditch,
Dude,
gagged, watching Bella Porch
Did you see
dancing.
the way Sony Pictures owned TikTok
Yes.
today?
Yes.
Retweeting they shared the video scene of from the Social Network where Spider-Man comes running up and gets pissed and smashes Mark Zuckerberg's laptop. It was just genius. But anyway, the story behind that is that there is very little that you can do as a dance dad because you're not going in the dressing room, so you can't provide any support there. So the moment you feel like you have something to do, you have relevance and importance. So like my big thing would be, what were some of the things I do? It would be a matter of running up to the room to get something to bring it back, or to, she's done with dances and just hanging out. So I will take the bags to the rooms, or the big bag to the rooms, so we do not need to deal with this. So that's what it is. It's because you finally have something to do. You feel important. And it's usually because you are rushing to the room to get something that was left behind. So that's what it is. That's all.
Yeah. Okay.
I guess that'll become a regular part of the show. It's like Tony asks Will, "What's this about?"
Yeah, it's like,
okay
is there a double meaning? Is Will in the doghouse this week? Let's find out.
When am I not? Jesus.
But I've seen your dogs. That's living large.
You're right, man. Let me tell you, my daughter, for my eldest daughter, and I was shocked by this, bought my youngest daughter this inflatable, and I believe it's like at least 4x8, if not longer. Definitely 4. Might be 4x10, but it's an inflatable acro pad. So it's about 6 inches tall, and she can do all of her flips and tricks on it because she does a lot of dance stuff in acro. I was utterly shocked my wife got that for her, or my daughter did, because somehow the 21-year-old can't get along with the 10-year-old. Don't get me started. But the dogs all think that that's their extra bed when it's laid out and she's not on it.
Oh, funny.
So yeah, they do. The dog house is nice in the Wilkins house, I will admit. So I guess it's no place not to be. But I don't want to be in it anymore. So I think it's finally time to wrap this bad boy up for now. Tony, thanks for essentially joining me to once again be talked at for over an hour. I don't know how you do it, but
Well,
I really appreciate it.
I was doing TikTok for 5 years at least. So what's new?
So I'm used to just sitting here and no, that makes no sense. But you know what? I don't care.
You tap the screen twice and get a heart there.
There you go. Well, you know what? Like I said, if you did stumble here somehow because TikTok is gone and you still sussed me out, look to the YouTube shorts. I'll start pushing stuff there, including some of I'm just gonna do an entire series that's gonna be interviews with Louis because the stuff this thing says is just too fun. And plus, I've got 2 ways that I can restore functionality of the vectors. One is a personal server, one is DDL servers, and I'm going to be doing that. And then, just more robot content and stuff I like to do, maybe some highlights from these if anything entertaining actually gets said. So, that
We
kind of
also
thing.
throw some Doctor Who into it because, like, let's
There
talk
you
about
go.
that too.
Right on. All right, man. Well, thanks
Okay.
for joining me. I appreciate it. Until next time, everyone, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for continuing to help support me in my senseless ventures, and hopefully I'm in some way bringing entertainment to yours. Until next time, my name's Will.
And I'm Tony.
You know what? TikTok, don't stop.
NetHeads. We'll be back soon.
Goodbye.
This has been a Smodcast production. Smodcast Podcast, using our mouths on you since 2007.
There's no stinger. All joy is gone in the world.